Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is your Govindraj. Thank you for all your views and likes and comments. The COVID-19 crisis has actually left all businesses in a different and difficult situation, and the employers and the businesses have to find various alternatives to keep his business going or to save his business. So in this regard, if you go on thinking, in my opinion and for me to my mind, there are four options comes to my mind. The first option is being salary reduction or the pay cut, and the second one is the layoff, and the third one is retrenchment. Of course, the finally the closure of the business. That is the extreme. Now these options do not come easy, or these are not easy. They come up with a lot of legal compliances and legal issues and associated concerns. If one does not understand this, so then he will not be able to implement these measures in his business. So normally employees also will be cautious and they are also worried. So that is why the employer also should keep this in mind before he gets into any issues. And it's not easy. For example, if you go to salary reduction or the pay cut, it's not easy because it's not easy in India. There are various legal provisions, obligations. So he is required to understand and then take appropriate measures. So in this regard, in this today's session, let's briefly discuss about the option of layoff. So this layoff whether works for what kind of employees, whether the blue collar employees you can lay off, or also the managerial staff or the supervisory or management staff. So you must have heard in the news or the media that a taxi aggregator or an IT company has laid off certain employees. So that layoff and this layoff, I think as per the Industrial Dispute Act, whatever layoff is provided are different. So if somebody is coming from IT company or a taxi aggregator is telling you 500 people have been laid off, for them layoff is nothing but retrenchment or the termination of employment. It is not the layoff which is as defined in the Industrial Dispute Act. So that layoff is different for them. So as I said, friends, in this session let's briefly talk about a few specifics of layoff, and then there are various associated issues. It's not easy to explain in 5 minutes or 6 minutes video. I will do my best, and let's see the presentation, friends. So as I said, friends, there are two types of employee categories. One being employees covered under Section 2S of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, and these are basically, there are layoff provisions are provided in Industrial Dispute Act, and there are restrictions also under Chapter 5A and 5B. So if at all we have to understand who are these employees or the worker which is covered under Section 2S, these are basically called blue collar employees. So the other category is we have employee covered under employment contract or employment order. These are basically supervisory and managerial and management staff, and they are not covered under ID Act 1947. Anything you do with these employees, you have to get into their contract and the terms. And there are few labor laws also which are applicable to every worker, every kind of workers. So you have to keep this in mind and then look into these provisions and take appropriate actions. So these are the two broad categories of employees, and you need to know their specifics and what kind of labor legislations are applicable to these people, and then accordingly you have to take your action or the plan. So if you look at the Industrial Dispute Act, Section 2KK defines layoff. This layoff is nothing but it is a employer's failure or refusal or inability to provide employment on account of shortage of coal, power or raw material, or the accumulation of stocks, or the breakdown of machinery, or natural calamity, so or for any other connected reason. So this connected reason have to be within this scope, and it should not be that the connected reason is for anything. So whatever the foregoing provisions are there, so for that the reasons have to be connected. This natural calamity word or the provision was not there until 1984. So this reason is added by Act number 46 of 1982 and made effective from 21/8/1984. There is an explanation also, friends, to this section. As per this explanation, if suppose employee comes to the work, then you don't give him an employment within 2 hours, then it will be deemed that he is laid off for the entire day. Suppose in another provision, or in another sense, you give him a job, or you tell him that there is no job, but however you tell him to come and report in the second half. So and he comes in the second half, and then you give him an employment. So in that case, it is deemed that he is being laid off only for the one half of that day or first half of that day. So and take another situation, he comes into the second half of the shift and you don't give him an employment. So in that case, he is not deemed to be laid off for the second half. So in that case, you have to give him full basic wages and dearness allowance for that part of the day. So this is the definition, friends. You will have to be very careful and understand in detail before you decide whom to lay off and for what conditions you lay off. And only don't go by this definition, because as I said, there are restrictions under chapter 5a and chapter 5b. Let's see some key important points. The key important points as per chapter 5a and 5b. Chapter 5a, if you look at it, deals with layoff and retrenchment. There are 13 sections, and chapter 5b deals with special provisions related to layoff, retrenchment and closure in certain establishments. So here also there are 9 sections. So if you look at these provisions, layoff provisions are not applicable to industrial establishment other than factory, mine and plantations. Even in the case of factory, mine or plantation, establishments having less than 50 workmen are not covered under layoff provisions. So the conclusion is, the establishment which are having less than 50 workmen and establishment which is not factory, mine and plantation, so unless they have any provisions in their appointment letter or standing orders, whatever it is, then the employer will have no provision to lay off such employees. So also seasonal establishment, irrespective of the number of employees, are not covered under layoff provisions. And if you look at chapter 5b, this is applicable only to factory, mine or plantation having 100 or more workers, and not applicable to seasonal establishment or where the work is carried out intermittently. So there are different restrictions under chapter 5b where you are also required to take prior permission from the appropriate government before you lay off the employees. So there are various provisions which which are restrictions are available under chapter 5a and 5b, and there are associated issues also. So you will have to understand before you implement or go forward with the layoff provisions. So friends, this is not the end actually. So as I said, chapter 5a is applicable to certain type of establishments, and chapter 5b there are further special provisions or restrictions, and there are associated concerns. For example, once you lay off, what is the compensation you have to give? Do you give full salary, or there is something which is available in the law? And when you give such compensation, what will you do with provident fund? What will you do with ESI? Does it attract professional tax or the employment tax, or does it attract income tax? So on so forth. And for the layoff period, do the employees earn earned leave or the annual leave, or is it also counted for, this period is also counted for gratuity? So these are all the associated questions and many more, friends, I have formulated, and it is not possible for me to explain only in this video. I will come up with shortly with a different program or different video for all of you. And thank you for watching my channel. And as I said, my objective is to give this knowledge and complex issues in a easy manner and help the professionals and the employers. So therefore friends, please do subscribe this channel, you like it, and also put your comments. And if you have any suggestions or clarifications, you can always reach me. My coordinates are provided here. Finally, my request, friends, don't forget to subscribe this channel, share it to as many people as you want, and don't forget to like this also. Thank you, friend. And this moment now I will sign off and will come back, friends. See you soon.